started this journey 2 years ago. We are working together for a joint customer who's printing prospects. We said, okay, what's the final? Who's from retail? You all working in retail? No. Oh. Okay. So and we started this journey 2 years ago, and we said, okay, we need to prove that the things they're doing that they have an impact on the customer side. So I just figured, okay, just go to the internet and get some stuff downloaded and say, okay, then I prove to my customers that this is a good thing. But there was nothing that really was sophisticated to prove that offline advertising is worth its money. So and then I said, okay, we need to prove it, because what our customers want, they don't want paper. They're not getting up in the morning and say, hey, I want paper, and then send it all over the world, or put it on an airplane and throw it all over Germany. So our customers, they want an uplift. They want an impact, with the money they spent. And we do as an offline advertising company, we have the problem that that compared to the internet ads, we know nothing about it. So this is our first guess. You know everything about your Google ads. You're sitting there. You have your dashboards. You know how you're targeting your company, how you're targeting your audience, who's clicking, what's the last click that you do, and the problem is about this. You know nothing. You know the cost per unit. You have some A/B testing. You know that it's probably worth the money, but you don't know what to put on the first page. Should I put there meat? Should I put there something else? I only have one version for all over Germany, but not all Germans are the same. So actually, we sat down and said, okay, we have to solve this problem. And even, as I said, we started 2 years ago with this experiment. So this might be the reason for the declining of the offline advertisement. Rewe will put their flyer away. We know Obi will do it. We think, as we know data now, we think this is the wrong decision, because you can optimize the offline world even to get some more out of your advertisement, like you do it in the online world as well. Plus, we think that with the fading out of offline advertisement, you have such a strong buy-in into Facebook and Google that they raised their prices just this year. They're taking all the profit from the retailers, just as much as they can, and the retailers are only the ones who are just distributing the stuff. So, and when we give all our advertising money to these companies, then there will be no
options.
There will be no options anymore. Just to switch to some other stuff. And plus, now all the money is going to the US. They're not paying taxes here. And offline advertising pays their taxes here. They having employees and stuff like that. So, and I think it might be considered that as well. So we think that all retailers who are now deciding to really decline their advertising, their offline advertising, are making a million decision, as we said, without the information. So when you're spending, I don't know, Metro is spending probably 30-50 million on offline advertising, and now they should. Obi, I think Obi was spending, I don't know, about 10 million, 15 million. Now they're saying, okay, we are not doing it anymore, but they don't have the right channels to substitute that, and they're basically deciding that without having the information if this is the right decision. So we're just offering we are just offering a tool, or we're just designing a tool just to give you the possibility to optimize your online/offline spending and to have it within a optimal state. So you can decide where to spend the money in all your channels, because what's happening right now is the online girls and boys say, okay, we need more money just to have to make the advertising, to make a new app, to make some new stuff, and offline has nothing to hold against there. And this is because the two worlds are pretty separate. Most of the companies decide at the beginning of the year which channel should get which kind of money, and then they're all really operating separately from each other. So we think this is the wrong way. You should put all your marketing stuff into one decision tool, and then decide where to spend the money, and really go to a decision circle, like you have in the online marketing. In online marketing, you're spending out campaigns, and then you have a decision circle. You say, you do, you check, you adapt, and then you plan again, and you go in that circle. And in the offline world, you don't have the check, you cannot adapt, you cannot improve. So you go to online, and last click optimized, and offline is not optimized. This is the world we are facing right now. And this is why we did a case study for the last 2 years with a big international omni-channel player. So we analyzed the German data for that, plus we are working for them right now as a consultancy to optimize that kind of decision circle. And Andrej will present the.
Just leave it.
Leave it. Okay.
Okay. So as we just saw, if you want to improve, you need to be able to measure. What you cannot measure, you cannot improve. So the biggest problem of offline advertisement, you can't measure it directly. You don't have this traceability along clicks until the checkout. So what can you do? The first and established go-to, you could call it gold standard, would be, let's do an A/B study. And we did this A/B study with our partner in terms of print ads. So we decided, let's measure the differential impact of distributing a print ad in a certain campaign. So we looked at the German-wide stores, made a careful selection of control and test group. In total, there were 60 stores in the experiment. Half went to control, half to test. We were very careful, to have this geographical distribution, all kinds of holidays and things that are making this difficult. So we did our best with 60 stores to get this balanced, and half of them got a print ad during a spring campaign, and the other half not. This half was not happy. So usually in the past, this retailer they do about 6 to 8 campaigns per year. And in normal years, take out COVID special situation, in normal years, a campaign means all channels are on. Maximize the advertisement pressure, the marketing pressure. Now, the retail store managers, they were used to having these campaigns and having then people come in their stores and buying the stuff. And they were really counting on the print ad to come. If marketing here, they decided that half of them does not receive a print ad. That was quite a tough decision to make. But it was the price for finding this out, to gather this knowledge, what this actually brings. So, results. We had this experiment in end of March. It was seasonal products. We had to wait a couple of weeks to see the results coming in at the checkout in the stores and also in the online web shop transactions. And for the first time, well, for us, was the first time we saw a direct measurement of what print ad actually brings in terms of performance. So when I say performance, I mean revenue at the checkout, an uplift in revenue. So you see on the left, the uplift at the checkouts. It's not huge. It's maybe like 5 to 7% in the 4 weeks after distributing the print ad, but it does persist. Here you see also the effect that you don't really know exactly when the print ad was distributed. So we told the distributor this date, but it was plus minus a few days. So it started a bit earlier than our due date. In online on the web shop, you see a much stronger signal. So in the 2 weeks after distribution, it goes up to almost 20% uplift in the revenue. And yeah, for us, this was the first time, actually, there is something. There is an effect. It's worth to dig deeper and trying to optimize. And remember, this is in a non-optimized way. It was completely, in German, say, Gießkanne. So everyone, you have these areas and everyone just gets this print ad without any information. Not like the guy from, what was his name, Dennis, just explained to us about customer segmentation and then this thing. Nothing. It was the same print ad everywhere.
6 million, or?
6 million. About,
6 million, all over, roundabout, all over Germany.
So there is something. There is something. Okay. Now we can start. We measure it. Okay. Now we can optimize. Not so fast. The problem is, it's too slow. There are way too many degrees of freedom that you have actually with offline advertisement. You have the question of timing. So if you have seasonal products, when do you put the campaign? Early, when it starts rising at the top. You have the question of, well, where do I distribute? Everywhere? Maybe not a good idea. Maybe there are certain places where it's more efficient than others. You have the degree of freedom of dose. So how much do I actually spend on a certain channel? Is it just one radio spot per week? Is it 10? Is it 6 million, 10 million? Then, of course, you have not only print, you have radio, TV, and out of home. So what's the mix? And again, what's the mix of dosages? So it's actually quite difficult to make this decision if you're completely blind. And then, of course, every single channel has its own operational details. So, for example, in display, out of home advertisement, where exactly do you put these displays? In the center of the city where people go for shopping? Do they? At public transport nodes, or where people sit in the car and drive along? I don't know. It's a degree of freedom that really then depends that you also want to measure. So if you have all these degrees of freedom, and you have these long planning, the cycle is quite long, it's weeks, maybe months, until you have something put out and they get the results. Things change too quick for this learning cycle. It's just too slow. Oh, I have this thing. This way. Okay, so A/B testing, I would say for offline media, it's not really working. It does have some pros. It's established. People know what I'm talking about. It's quite robust. It doesn't have this magic AI in it. You can't really fake it. If there's a signal, you see it. If there's nothing, you don't see anything. It is quantitative, so it's much better than measuring just before and after your campaign. That's just plain wrong. If you go a seasonal uptrend, before it's low and afterwards it's higher, irrespective of what you do. So you can't really do that. So it's a bit smarter than that, and it's simple. You only have to decide what's your control in your test setup. That's it. But as I said, it's too slow. It's also too expensive. Remember, half of the stores didn't get a print ad. There was no uplift of these 7% in 4 weeks or 20% in online.
This was a really bold decision for the retailer, just to decide that.
Yeah.
There was a lot of internal discussion.
So, you could say, 50-50 is quite drastic. You could go 70-30 or 80-20.
We excluded the big stores, So
it is expensive, yeah. And you don't have any detailed information, so you can only make claims about the test group versus the control group as a whole. Okay, the test group, those 30 stores, they had 20% uplift. But what about the store in Cologne or in Berlin? You don't really know. And it's actually not that easy to do, because the study, the planning phase of this A/B test, you really have to be careful to take everything into account, because you want to have all the other factors that come into play balanced between the two groups. And then it starts to get scientific again, And with only 60 stores, if you have thousands, okay, but if you have only 60, it gets tricky. So if A/B testing is not the way forward, what can we do? We have a proposal. So we go about this a bit differently, and we take ideas that are known for a long time from a different area, and it's demand forecasting. So a few steps back.
Everybody knows demand forecasting?
Yeah? So if you're a supply chain manager, you just want to forecast how many products are going to be sold the next few weeks until you can order them. It's it's established sheet as well. There it's about prediction. You want to predict the demand in a few months and so on.
And in supply chain, you take all these factors in that are really relevant. And so we took that idea.
So going back, what you want to do with performance marketing campaigns, you want to lift your revenue. You want to push it up. You want to have an impact. But the situation is not that simple. It's not like a flat line where you introduce like a hump. The reference, the baseline sales dynamic is quite intricate. It's complicated. And it's very local. So you have, depending on where you are, you have effects like public holidays in one federal state are different to another. You have back-to-school events. You have local events, maybe even national events. You have local weather. You have also local trends. If a new store opens up, it's not established yet, so you have this local trend of the store being more and more known to the local public. So many things that are local, and you can't really make this aggregation into a group. It doesn't really make sense anymore. So there is this, it's not like a flat lake where you just throw a stone. It's more like a wavy sea where you throw several big stones and you want to measure what the impact is. So you have these, you can't see it. You do this performance marketing campaign and you want to lift something above. So you distribute your print ad. Maybe everywhere, maybe not. You, on top of that, have some displays. On top of that, have maybe radio, TV, and so on. And I didn't even include online in this thinking, but it's the same thing. By the way, most online departments don't really think in regions. All their planning is also on national level. So you want to lift something. And you have here, make this a bit more simple. You say that every single contributes individually. Of course, in reality, you have saturation effects and interdependencies, but just make it simple. But you can't see that. Everything, the only thing you see is the resulting sales curve after the fact. And that's baseline, which you don't see, it's invisible, plus whatever effect there is, and there might be none. And well, if you want to measure it, the thing that you actually are interested in is exactly the area in between the curves. That's the effect. So what you have to do is reconstruct this baseline after the fact. So that's the big difference between demand forecasting. You want to know beforehand for your planning processes. Now you've done your campaign and you want to reconstruct what the sales numbers would have been if you had made no campaign. So we took, it is AI, okay, but it's not completely cutting-edge research stuff. These are established methods. They work very robustly. If someone's interested what we use, talk to me afterwards at the round table. It's not magic. It's just AI that has been around for about 5 years. And that works pretty well. What is hard is actually getting the data for that. So what you need to have kinds of data is data of the local context. You really have to know what was happening in Cologne at that date. Was it a rainy day? Was it a public holiday? Okay, this is simple. Was it open? Carnival? Was it open? Or was it Carnival? Yes, that's very special. Also, all these COVID time, you had lockdown, stores were closed. You have this slow opening, click and collect. People could come in with testing and so on. You have to know this stuff. These are the factors that go into the external factors that go into the sales dynamics. And of course, and that's probably the hardest part, you have to know on a data level what you did. So what was your marketing input into the system? In online, that's easy. You have to do this anyway. So it's all electronic. The data is there. You have this data streams, and they go directly into billing, to online, and so on, Google Ads. But for offline, where's the data? You are from retailing, so where's your print or display activity data?
For the last 3 years.
What's the medium? You know,
it's somewhere in some Excel files,
PDFs,
yes. Somewhere like that. Like
it's for humans, right?
Yeah, it's for humans.
You have to talk with your agencies, with the I don't know, with the print company and so on. It's human readable. Second?
Google Store visits, yeah. Google Store visits, but that's only one source, you know. So it's but you need to know where were the display at which GPS point address was the display displayed. You know, where was your marketing data? In which area? Not the postal code, but in which postal codes were the displays displayed, because they only tell you the ones that are throwing it out. They don't have the exact numbers as well, you know. So you don't have the same kind of database you have for online, but you can use the online data. When you just click back, you saw the effect on the online between online and offline sales in the catchment areas.
A/B testing.
Yeah, A/B testing with the A/B testing. So you can use this data just to check on your ads, but this is only one source, because when you have like 20-30% or 10% online sales, it's not representative. When the most of the stuff is going in is in your stores and it's measured by walk-ins, you have to get this data. Plus you need, when you want to really establish an ROI on a store level, then you need the data on the region you spend in it.
Okay. Just look at the watch.
Yeah.
So I was here. So here you see then an example. So what's happening? We take every single transaction from the last 5 years, every single checkout.
5 minutes. Okay.
A few 100 million of these data points, but that data it's clear. It's in the checkout. It's fine. We put this all in some kind of detailed data model. That's the hard work. We worked very hard to get this marketing activity data, including costs per unit. And then using that, we can actually reconstruct this baseline for every single store, for every single region. It's then up for you to decide. Do you go in cities or smaller units? And you actually can go down to product groups. So we have this sports retailer. Is it like swimming wear, bicycles, or outdoor? It's a lot of data, but in the end, it's not that hard, because you're not really making predictions about the future, just reconstructing what's happening. And in the database, you can just switch off the campaign. You've seen a lot of instances of stores with campaign, out of campaign. You can just switch it off and reconstruct what this is. So now you have the area between the curves for every point of sales, for every store, for every region online. And this you can now compare with your cost to start digging in. So I can't really show you the stores here, but one of the first things we did is we looked at the regions. So in each region is one or two, sometimes it's a few stores which are very close by. So what was spent in these regions in total across all channels? So this kind of marketing pressure in the 2 years, 21 and 22. What was the total uplift? So this is the omni-channel uplift, a store revenue uplift and online revenue uplift. And you see, okay, so there are big stores, big cities, Cologne, Munich, Berlin, and so on, and then there's a long tail. It's not really one-to-one. So the return on your ad spend, the ROI, no, it's a much more diffuse thing. And if you now have this pressure on the budget, you don't have as much budget available next year. Well, you have to make hard decisions. And one decision could be, I can't really distribute everywhere. I'm just taking out the cream at the top, just put it there. That's the simplest thing you can do. And we know that it works because we did this A/B study, but now we don't want to optimize intelligence. We want to optimize return on ad. And that's just one dimension. So there are many more dimensions, like store age, store size, what's the geographical location of the store? Is it inner center? Is it out of center? How many competitors are there? So everything you know about your regions, you can put another second layer data model and compare this with your ROI and other KPIs that you can actually now measure and start optimizing. Of course, the same slowness argument still applies. It's still not online, where you can a yellow and a blue instantly and you have tomorrow some results. But now you don't have to do this A/B hard decision anymore of cutting away 50%. You can still do the campaign everywhere because you can reconstruct the baseline everywhere. And you just have to wait a few weeks until you get the results, and hopefully your offline campaign planning is fast enough to use that intelligence for the next campaign.
I mean, there's one point. You can talk to the guys who are doing your offline company to be quicker. You know, so you can optimize the workflow just to get some other results. I think we're running out of time. The only problem is you need data. So, and this is the bad news about this the saying. It's not easy. It's not we are working now on the project for 2 years. For 2 years, and for the first 3 months we were allowed to look at all the data, but we had the physical problem that we don't get the data because there are not enough people who just put the pipelines to give us the data we need to improve the project. So this is not magic. It's about data science. It's a data science thing that you can apply. And what we did over the last 2 years, we just said, okay, what should be an optimal setup to really do that? And we say you have to do it in a cloud first environment. So you can do it in an own cloud or something like that. And this is just the tech stack. This is just the Microsoft tech stack because we like Microsoft. But this is you can do that with AWS or with Google as well. But you need a tech stack that allows you to really pull the circle, because otherwise when you do it that once, it's worthless, because you need to optimize. You need to optimize your campaigns. You need to be constantly on the spot, and the only way to do that is with a cloud platform. So this is what we discovered. This was our hard learning. Now we should have said that the first day we started the project. Now we're saying that this is what you have to do to set that all up. And so that's us. And this is because we are at the end of the presentation, this is our stopping advertising to save money is like stopping your watch to save time. I think this is a good conclusion. When you don't have to stop spending money, but spend the money wisely. Develop a concept, how you can spend your money, how you get most out of it in the regions you're most of it. Just start redesigning your offline campaigns. But what we discovered, it's when we looked at out of home, it's like looking at the data, it's like, why did they do that? Why did they do that? So, and this is, I think this is the most incredible point. And don't remember, it's a journey. You start little, and then you continue on the journey and you start optimizing like you did with the online. Now, online, when you started online, nobody knew where to click and what to do. And now, 15 years later, everybody says, "Yeah, online is nice." But rethink this, the journey you did with online advertising, and rethink that with offline advertising as well, because it's worth it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much.